Hey, Joe's here. Now, if you're anything like me, you've had more than one occasion in your life when you've looked in the mirror and not recognised the woman staring back. You don't know who you are anymore. You've lost touch with the person you used to be. Just lost your mojo. You feel like a nobody, like pretty insignificant. You're not alone. There are many more women feeling like this than you'd imagine, but nobody dares say it out loud. This happened to me a few times, most recently as I turned 40 just a couple of years back. However, the most significant time was when I was just 27. I'd settled down with my boyfriend that I'd been with since we were 15 at school. We'd had 2 children, girls aged 3 and 1. We got married because that was what was expected of us. Then 7 months later, I woke up one day, literally one day, looked in the mirror and thought, what am I doing? Who am I? It filled me with panic. Now, long story short, I chose to walk away from my marriage. I got a lot of stick for that, but I was never going to be that woman who stayed for the kids. Here's why. Kids aren't stupid. They can sense if they've got a happy mum or not. And I knew that I could be a better mum if I made choices for myself. Plus, these children grow up and move out and leave you behind with a husband that you can't stand. Then not only have you lived your life for your kids, they've left you behind, and then your marriage falls apart. Result, you end up a sad and lonely woman with only a cat for company. Now, I know there are many single women who live alone with a cat quite happily. The important point is they choose to, and that's what makes it okay. So, I'm on a mission to help as many women as possible to avoid having that experience. Now, I want to help women live their own lives by being confident and full of self-worth and self-esteem. And for me, there is just one simple, surefire way to make that happen: to reconnect with their true, authentic identity. And remember, I said simple, not easy. So do you want to hear how I did it? Then I shall begin. Now, I was visiting my parents one afternoon and we were looking at old photos. And I came across this one picture of me aged 4 and I couldn't take my eyes off it. I was so unbelievably drawn into it. It was mesmerising. It reflected back to me the real me, the person who I felt I was born to be. I knew her, I felt deeply connected to her. I could feel how she felt in that picture and I wanted her back. She was the pure and best version of me. She was the me without any fear, without any limiting beliefs, without any cares in the world. She could be and do anything she set her mind to. Anything was possible, and she had a wild imagination. You see, here's what happens in reality. As we grow up, we're laden with expectations, societal norms, biases, prejudices, other people's beliefs, and it weighs us down. We're taught to conform, be quiet, be a good girl, act a certain way. All that bullshit strips us of our inner beauty and dims our light, so that by the time we're a young adult, we've lost all of that good stuff. We're conditioned to work hard, get a good job, settle down, get a mortgage, blah, blah, blah. We wear so many other badges, as I call them. We spend more time being wife, mum, HR manager, cleaner, carer. You get the picture. We rarely wear our own badge with our own name on it. That's how we lose touch with our own self and why we end up not recognising the woman staring back. So these days, when I feel like this, because it still happens, I ask myself one simple but powerful question. What would Violet do? Oh yes, I must explain. You see, in 1983, it really wasn't cool to be called Jodie. There wasn't that many of us around, so I used to tell people different names. I have been known to call myself Madonna and Charlotte among many, but my favourite of all time was Violet. And so the picture I see is one of Violet. I go back to her and I ask her what she would do. That's always a very different answer than I would get from 41-year-old Jodie, who has been tainted by society. When I step back into being Violet, I immediately become flooded with all the confidence, self-worth, self-esteem, joy, imagination, excitement, belief that she had. And it helps me to choose to behave differently, to break the mold, to do what I want, not what's expected of me, to put my desires, my wants, my needs front and centre. So that's it. It's the one simple, surefire way to confidence, self-worth and self-esteem. Go back to the purest and best version of yourself. Find a picture of her, pin her up so that when you're stuck on the hamster wheel of life with the wrong badge on and you don't recognise the woman staring back at you in the mirror, you go to her and you ask her, what would she do? Now, identity, which is what I'm talking about here, will form one of 8 modules on my 8-week group coaching programme, Woman Up, that is about to launch this coming autumn. So if you'd like to know more about what it entails a bit closer to the time, then please add your details to the waitlist on the link provided.